y'all, it's Kim, and I'm so happy you're here. This is the beginning of a new-ish collaboration sponsored by Crafty Owl, and this is called the Oh So Inspired Collaboration. And this is just a group of friends from YouTube that like to create cards, getting together and creating something that we are inspired by. And we hope that you will become inspired as well. Each month we will choose a piece to be inspired by and create something of our own. And this month our inspiration is coming to us from J.J. Bolton at Ribbon Girls, and you can see the inspiration piece there's a link in my description box below. I'm also showing it on the screen, but you can go over to that post to see where we drew our inspiration. So let's get into making my card. I'm going to make a Valentine's card, and I'm going to make my own background paper, similar to what we saw in the inspiration piece. I'm going to use a couple of stamp sets, one from May Made It, one from Not2Shabby, and then some Simon Hurley inks and some ink on 3 blackout ink. So I'm just cutting a little panel down to 5.5 by 4.25 so that I've got something to work with. And I'm going to just do some random stamping. These hearts from the May Made It stamp, which will be linked in my description box below, are fairly large, so I'm only going to use 3 of each. And one is kind of, you could pick your animal, but I'm kind of thinking it looks sort of like a cow or something like that. And so that's where I'm going with that, with the black and white. And I'm just test stamping it over there on a piece of scrap. And I'm just going to stamp 3 of those on my background. And the stamping actually comes out not completely clear. So I decided at that point I am going to go for kind of a distressed look, and it ends up looking pretty good. So for the cheetah type print heart, I'm going to use the Simon Hurley ink in the color Gur. And I do like those Simon Hurley inks. But I'm just going to stamp 3 of those randomly around the card. And I'm keeping in mind that the center, that top quadrant of the center of my card is going to have a sentiment or some kind of focal image there. So I'm not really worried about the middle. So now I'm going to take this Not2Shabby stamp set, and I'm going to pull out that little envelope that has a heart on it. And using Simon Hurley's Prom Queen, which is my favorite color of his inks, I'm going to stamp around, shocker that hot pink would be my favorite color. But I'm going to just stamp and fill in areas there. And I have to be careful because I'm getting ink on my stamping block. I don't typically free range stamp. I'm not very good at it, but I managed to get this done and cover up the boo-boos that I do make. I do get some ink in places that shouldn't be, but you know, I've got a way to fix that. So now I'm going to take some Love Struck ink from Simon Hurley and just take that little heart that was in the Not2Shabby stamp set and just fill in places. I just want to fill in the background of my card and get that so that I've got, you know, almost every little spot covered as much as possible. So there we've got that. And I'm not real happy with just the white background, so I'm going to come in with the Prom Queen and just lightly ink blend on that white cardstock. I didn't have a pink that matched very well, so this works out well. I thought about doing the tone on tone with a pink cardstock, but the pinks that I have didn't really match. So what do you do when you don't have cardstock that doesn't match your ink? You ink blend it and make your cardstock match. So, and I ended up actually liking it because it lended itself more to the distressed look of what I was going for. So my little focal point on the center of my card is going to be a heart, and I'm going to cut it out and make a frame. I'm going to take these two closest sizes here and cut it out with my die cut machine and get kind of a frame. I'm taping it down so it doesn't move. And then when I come back to my desk, I'm going to be really careful peeling that tape off. I did use my vinyl pick tool to get that tape started because it gets stuck down quite well, even though it is washi tape. And so I'm going to have my little frame there. And then I'm going to take that largest heart and I'm going to go back to my die cut machine, and I'm going to pull out a piece of vellum and cut it out to go on the back of my frame. And so now I'm going to glue that vellum heart to the back of the pink frame. I'm basically making it kind of like a shaker with vellum, but I'm not putting shaker bits in it. Because I'm going to end up popping that up. Shocker, I know. So the inspiration piece had heat embossed sentiment on that vellum on the front. And that vellum that I have is not heat resistant, so I opt for just a stamped sentiment on a piece of white cardstock. And I also did some stamp surgery. My sentiment would not fit inside my heart, so I snipped it apart. There's no harm there. If I want to put it back together and have it one line, I can. And so I just stamped out the words Happy Valentine's Day and then trimmed it down with my trimmer. And I'm having a glue struggle this morning with this card, surprise. But anyway, I finally do get some out, and I'm going to put that there. It's not quite as pretty as it would be if it were heat embossed, but it is what it is, and I still like it. So now I'm going to come in with my foam tape and just pop this up. And I'm not worried about making sure it's completely closed because, again, I'm not putting shaker bits in it. I just want to have it supported as much as possible all across that heart. And my foam tape is wider than what the bottom part of the heart is, so I do have to cut that in half, but that's fine. It does work that way. And if I wanted to go around the curves and make sure that it was closed off, you know, the trick of taking the release paper off to go around those curves. But I'm not worried about that with this card. So I'm going to release all that paper off the back of my foam tape. Eventually, I struggle, but I struggle with a lot of things. But release paper is one of them. But anyway, so I'm going to just kind of adhere that to the top portion of the card in the center. And then I want to go back to that inspiration. Well, first of all, I forgot to cut my card panel down. Should have done that before I put my heart on, but it's okay. I manage. It works fine. I want to cut it down to a 5 1/4 by 4. So that it will give me a little bit of a white border on my card. So I'm just going through and cutting off 1/8 of an inch all around. Now I'm going to cut down a card base. Took an 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock and cut it down the center at 4 1/4. And I'm going to score it at 5 1/2, making it a top folding A2 size card. The A2 size card is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So the card base is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 after it's folded. It's 4 1/4 by 11 before then. So then I'm going to glue my card base or my card mat down to my card base. And then I remember, oh yeah, I have sparklies to go on. Our inspiration piece had these little water droplet type beads on the front, and I love them. I have some of them in varying sizes. So I'm just going to go down and put a grouping of 5 trickling down that card front. I'm going to use my little Marvy jewel picker to pick those up. I do like that jewel picker. It's pretty awesome. This is the second one I had because something happened to the tip of my original one, and the metal was poking through. So anyway, there's our card, but wait, there's more. I want to add to the inside of the card. And so the little center of that heart that cut out when I cut my frame is going to go right there in the bottom corner of my card. And there you have it. How do you think I did on the collab or on the inspiration piece? I think I followed it okay. I'm so glad that you stopped by and joined this video. I hope that you click through the hashtag and follow along and see all of the other inspiration pieces. I can't wait to see them myself. I know they're going to be awesome. Here's one thing I want you to remember. God was a creative God. He created this earth and all of the beautiful things in it. And He created you, another beautiful thing. So, God says we are created in His image. And if we're created in His image, then why shouldn't we be creative too? So go out and create something today. Be a creative being. And remember that I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hey, thanks for stopping by. If you're not a subscriber, I would be so honored if you would consider doing so and hit the little bell icon so that you can be notified each time that I upload a new video. Thanks.